Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com and I'm here to bring you another live paper crafting class. It is Wednesday, July 14th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm broadcasting to you live. I broadcast live almost every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time, so if some of you have been wondering, now you know, just mark your calendar. We have a fun technique to share today, and I'm so excited to bring this to you. First of all, a big welcome to all of you who are new to my YouTube channel or even new to a live, even if you've been subscribed to my YouTube channel. So thank you for joining. My website again is stampyourartout.com if you would like to visit and see more ideas. Last week, I forgot to put the link to the actual blog post into my description. I noticed it like a couple days ago. So forgive me on that if any of you were trying to get the link to go to my blog post. But you can always go to stampyourartout.com after this if I forget again, and it's going to be the most recent blog post, okay? So on that note, again, welcome to any of you who are live for the first time. Also, welcome to Trisha Joseph. She is my moderator. She is the one with the, when you're looking at the live comments, she's got the wrench symbol next to her name. She's the one that answers questions, guides you to the right places. So thank you, Trisha, for being live with us again. You are such a treasure to me. And welcome back to any of you who are visiting again to my live. So thank you. Make sure that you check in, comment. Your comments get you entered into a prize drawing that we do towards the end. And if you're watching after the live is over, there's a separate comment section. On my laptop, it's below the video, and you just comment there, and you can get entered into a prize drawing that will follow the week to come, so the following week. So I'm seeing comments scroll in. This is awesome because I'm seeing where you're from. I'm seeing you say hello to each other. I love that Trisha put in there how to tag her. So you just put the @ before her name. Yes, happy Wednesday to you too, Tiffany. So fun, fun, fun. I love that my iPad shows my comments up here too. I keep wanting to look down there, but they're right there now. It's so awesome. I love the Switcher Studio app. Okay, so what do I want to mention? I did go through the after live comments. I have not gone through all the live comments from last week, but I did notice within the after live comments that some of you were like, oh shoot, the gilded leafing demo was a flop, and it really was because I forgot to dry my glue ahead of time on a separate sample. So I will show you that really quickly, but I think I put in my video description from last week a link to a previous video where I demonstrate the gilded leafing really well. So, but I'll do a quick little demo of that. And what else do I want to mention before we do that? Let's go ahead to the desktop then, and we'll do that quickly. All right, so welcome. So much fun. So this is gilded leafing, and it is some fun stuff here. You know what, I'm going to turn this off and see if that makes it less shadowy. Yes, it does. I still struggle with lighting, you guys. Anyways, this is the gilded leafing, and you get a whole bunch of it when you purchase it. It comes in this huge container. In fact, if you take it and put it into what like a plastic shoebox sized tub, it will work really well for you because it really kind of expands when you pull it out. I've been doing a great job at keeping it in here though, because I do have room in my craft room, but still, it doesn't matter. So this is what you do. What I did is I had some dried glue on this one. So I used the multi-purpose liquid glue on this sample, dotted it on there. And this is the one that I actually didn't do the gilded leafing on from last week. So gilded leafing, pretty darn simple. Once the glue is dry, you pretty much just stick some of it on there like that. And then you take either your finger or you can take a sponge. Sorry, I'm going to move this one out of the way. And you just kind of rub it. Oh, see? If it's dry, it works. There it is. So that's the finished results. All right? That's what I didn't do last week. I am going to just move this stuff aside. Our desk is going to get messy, so I'm just going to accept the fact that it's going to be messy. Let's go ahead and go to the measurement list. Here we go. Let's pull that up. So for today's project, you'll see the supplies listed on the left-hand side. I did not list everything. There's a lot of non-Stampin' Up! Products that I'm going to use, but very easy to get a hold of items, things that you can find in like your local drugstore or, you know, Amazon or something like that. And you can see that some of them are listed at the end, but the top portion of the list is all Stampin' Up! Products. So that's the joy. We are going to do this technique, this alcohol ink art background technique, which I forgot to even mention to you. Yes, we're going to be doing some fun background papers. And we're going to do that with Stampin' Up! Products. There's a lot of other products out there that give you wonderful results. But I'm going to show you how to do it with Stampin' Up! Products. So, and off to the right, you can see, and actually in the middle too, the measurements. So I have it in inches and in centimeters for those of you who live in all parts of the world. Okay, so let's go back to the desktop and let's pull in our paper trimmer, because we want to just prepare our card supplies, because we are going to walk through an entire card, but I'm also going to do the parts and pieces to demonstrate this great technique. So let's just get this part out of the way first. If you have never paper crafted before, I hope that you don't feel intimidated by it. I try to gear a lot of tips in my videos towards beginners too, because it is pretty easy. It's pretty easy and pretty fun, and you can feel like an artist with Stampin' Up! Products, especially with this technique. It's amazing. Everybody is going to be an artist with this technique. I have a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is our Blackberry Bliss cardstock. It's one of my favorite dark, I call it a neutral in a way, because you can use it as your main dark color. Early espresso, black, basic black, basic gray. And then you've got colors like this, like Mossy Meadow also. Evening Evergreen, a new one. I'm going to cut this in half. So 8.5 cut in half is 4.25 inches. We're just moving this edge, this left edge, to the 4.25 inch mark. And I'm going to slide my dark blade upwards to cut it. And that, when I push upwards, by the way, I have the ridge of my trimmer up here to help hold it still. Okay, then I'm going to rotate it and go halfway with my 11-inch measure. And that is going to bring me to 5.5 inches. I'm going to use my light blade, and we're just going to press, and that's going to create an indentation in the cardstock so that we now have a card base. You can get 2 card bases from one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And then I just use a bone folder tool. You can use your finger to rub the edge to crease it to make it nice and crisp. I've also got other pieces here. We're going to be using, as listed here, we've got the In Color Shimmer Vellum. I'm using the Fresh Freesia color from that. We have a piece, well, first I'll start with this one. This one's going to be layered underneath our sentiment piece, and it's pretty darn tiny, 3/4 inch by 3 1/8 inches. You can make that piece whatever you want, depending on your sentiment. This piece is going to go on the inside of the card, and I really could have just done a couple strips and saved on my shimmer vellum. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. So again, you could have used just a couple strips so that you could save this portion. It's up to you if you want to have strips or if you want to have a whole piece. This piece is 2 3/4 inches by 4. This piece that will layer on top of it is also 4 inches in this direction, but it's 2.5 inches tall. That's going to go on the inside. And I know, like, right, Rachel, tall? Yes, because we're going to put some stamps on the inside that I think are going to be subtle and pretty. Drop something. The desk is already a mess, you guys. It's crazy. Okay, and then we're going to use shimmer vellum that is 2.5 inches wide in this direction. It's going to be tall though, and it's going to be on the front of the card, and it's going to be 5 inches tall. Now this piece, and soon to be the vellum piece are all going to be 5 inches tall by 2.5 inches wide. The reason why my vellum is a little bit taller is because we're going to use Post-it note tape, sticky notes. You could use washi tape, a painter's tape to hold it down on the edges. And we're going to do that before we do the alcohol ink technique. I also have a larger piece of vellum, and I'm just showing you this because if you want to, you can use a larger piece and then trim it down. A lot of people like to do that so that they don't have the alcohol ink edge look where sometimes the ink runs into the edges and it darkens there a bit. I'm not too picky about it because seriously, every piece that you make with this is an amazing piece of artwork. And then we need our sentiment piece, which is 5/8 of an inch by 3 inches. So we're going to set all of these off to the side because we don't need them now. I'll put them there. I'm like, where's a space to put anything? It's really crazy. So this is going to be the piece that we decorate. And I was inspired by a scarf that my friend Belinda, where did Brenda come from? My friend Belinda Darnell gave to me. I was visiting her house. She also gave me a bunch of hostas too. Anyways, Belinda, if you're watching, thank you. This scarf just had some beautiful color in it. So I took and grabbed a bunch of blends markers. Here's the other one in the colors that I thought were pretty darn close to it. So we're going to be coloring with these colors onto the vellum. But first, let me just give you a little bit of background onto blends markers and what they can do. Basically, they're an alcohol-based marker that allows you to do some really smooth coloring. So I've stamped some images from the Shaded Summer stamp set, and that's this one here. It's in the annual catalog. It's a beautiful stamp set. The lines are a little bit thicker than what I typically use for coloring, but this is the one we're going to use on the card. So I thought I would just feature it and show you how to color in using that ink. Then you want to use a water-based or a water-based ink. So let me show you the other one. This is what most people use with blends. The Memento Tuxedo Black or a Memento kind of ink is perfect for using with blends. You don't want to use the Stays-On ink because that's solvent-based and you'll get some bleeding. But anything like water-based, the classic ink pads that Stampin' Up! Sells are water-based. So you can have your outline image in any of the classic inks, okay? It's so fun. Some of you are still saying hi and where you're from. Oh my goodness. From Peter Maritzburg in South Africa. Annette, welcome. All right, so I've stamped my image in the Blackberry Bliss in this case. Again, normally I use the Memento. And then you just come in, and I'm bringing in one of my light blends markers that pairs up with the dark. So you buy them in sets of 2. So this is the light and the dark Flirty Flamingo. What I like to do is I like to first color in a base of color with my light one. And then I come back and I add a little bit of dark. I use my light ones up a lot for this kind of technique. I use a little bit of dark where I want the shade to be. And right now you can see there's definitely a difference between the light and dark there. Then I come back with my light and I just kind of do a swirly motion to get the colors to blend together. Hence the name blends. Now look at this. See? A smooth transition. They're awesome. They're wonderful. I love alcohol-based markers much better for coloring than water-based markers. The water-based markers, though, have their wonderful perks, pluses, I should say, on lots of other things, but I definitely choose this when I'm going to color in an image, the alcohol-based blends markers. On the back side, you can see that it does bleed through, so you'll want to make sure that you're not just using like one sheet of cardstock folded in half to make your card. This would be, you'd want to put this onto a layer. So that's basic Blends 101. Also, blends markers are great for, sorry, I'm just going to make sure, this is my pile of, you can't see it, but this is my pile of I don't need to look at it anymore. So, also, blends markers are great for coloring in embellishments, I should say. I'm just going to bring in an extra piece of grid paper here. And we're going to use, let's use the This is the dark balmy blue. We're coloring directly onto some of our white ribbon. This is our basic white crinkled seam binding. So, and you get, well here, I'll put it against the white paper again here. So you get blue ribbon instead of white ribbon. So you can color, and you can do this with colored ribbon too, but you don't want to have too dark of a color. Like a lot of people are using the open weave in color ribbons and they're coloring on those. Get some really pretty colors. But if you're gonna do like a color onto the light green one, it's called soft succulent, then you probably want to use something where it's okay if you have a tinge of green in it, because whatever your base color of ribbon is, the color is going to come through a little bit when you do this technique with it. Just know that. Okay, that's why white is so great. Another thing that you can do is you can color embellishments. And I've already colored three of the pearls on here, but you can see you just go on top like that with your marker and you've got now a green pearl. Oh, it's hard to see the green pearl. Let's put it against the white again. There we go. Now you can see it. So I just used the dark granny apple green on that. All right. So that's Basic Blends 101. I am going to tell you a little bit about, here, let's just bring in these swatches here. These are the results that we're going to try to achieve today, okay? So pretty. I can't stand it. So, alcohol ink art with Stampin' blends. Beginning stages, that's what I'm in right now myself. So if you have never played with this, I just recently started playing with it. I think it was because of time, because I have been wanting to play with this for so long. And once you dive in, you become addicted. I have been playing around with different swatches. I haven't made as many swatches as some of the other demonstrators that are out there doing videos, but I made quite a few to show you some different results. Very pretty, right? I'm showing these against some white paper because with Stampin' Up! Products, we don't have that special paper called Yupo. Yupo paper is what a lot of people are demonstrating on. We had a glossy paper and I pulled that out, a glossy white, but it didn't have the same results as Yupo paper. I don't think it's as coated. I think it's a little more porous, so the color dried on it pretty quickly, and I was going fast, and so I threw it away. It was ugly. So I wouldn't recommend any past Stampin' Up! Glossy paper for this technique. But Yupo paper is a glossy white. Another one that was mentioned out there is Durabrite white craft plastic paper. I don't have my hands on any of this. I'm using the Stampin' Up! Stuff, and the best results you get with the vellum. So this is sheer vellum. It's not completely like you can see there's like a shadow when you put vellum against your hands, like here. You know, it lightens up whatever color you had if you have a dark color, right? But you can still see things through it. So it's not completely clear. It's not like window sheet, but it definitely is see-through. So then you want to put it against a white paper, like basic white, to really make sure that it stands out, because this is different than this. Okay, when you put it against the white, oh, there we go. When you put it against the white paper, the colors really are vibrant. So we'll be playing around with that white paper. I'm going to bring it in from time to time. Some other things. So let's see here, blends, markers. Oh, and the other videos out there, they're using like re-inker droppers of alcohol ink. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell that. We just have the alcohol ink in the markers. And then you want to use alcohol at a high percent. So I originally wrote down the description for this video with the word rubbing alcohol. But rubbing alcohol is actually more like 70% type of alcohol, and that is for like health type of things, you know, disinfecting and stuff like that. You want to do 91% at least isopropyl alcohol. So I changed the description to isopropyl isopropyl. That's a hard one to say. But I actually found some 99% on Amazon. I just looked it up on the search bar, 99% isopropyl alcohol, and I cannot say that word. And and it came up with lots of different bottle choices. So I purchased it through Amazon. So that's what I'd recommend, because the higher percent, the better results you're going to get on this whole thing with like curling of the vellum, right? So it dries quicker so that you don't have the curling of the vellum as much. Let's see. I'm looking on my other sheet here. I want to make sure I tell you all the things. So window sheets can work. Foil sheets can work. An ink surface where the ink can move and it's not as porous. But I am going to show you the results that I did on window sheets and foil paper, and I wasn't liking it as much. And I'm wondering if it was because my alcohol content was at 99%, but it gave kind of a burnt look to it. Maybe it dried too quickly on those surfaces, so maybe you'd want to play around with like the 91%. So let's move these off to the side, and let's bring in our surface. So other tools that you need will be a surface, and I'm using just my foil covered chipboard that I use for when I do heat embossing. I just wanted a protected surface because I am going to use the heat tool. You don't have to use the heat tool. You can use just like a straw. Here, let me bring in those tools. So to move the ink, I'm going to use the heat tool, but I'm also going to play around with some other things. A little ink or a little dropper is a good thing to use. You can use a paintbrush or water painter. These are the Stampin' Up! Water painters. This is one of them. You get them in a set of 3. This is an old tool that Stampin' Up! Used to sell. It's called a marker spritzer, but you can get something similar by just going to your local drugstore and getting one of those nasal aspirators. This is what a lot of people get when they have little babies and they need to help them clean their noses. This one is clean. Spritzers. Stampin' Up! Has these spritzers. These are little spray bottles. And by the way, if you're like me, my pointer finger gets tired when I press on these. So I actually use my thumb to spritz out stuff. So I've filled my spritzer partway with the rubbing alcohol. I'm sorry, the isopropyl alcohol, but I am going to show you how to fill that up. And also like a little container. And this is a little container that my friend Vicky gave me. She gave me a whole stack of these. It's plastic. You can use glass, but I like that this has a lid on it. So I can keep my container of alcohol in here, cap it, and then I don't have to worry about having to waste any alcohol. I've got my container ready to go. Another tool that you'll need is like some paper towels so that you can blot off your paintbrush when you're working, so that you don't mix the ink in with your tub of alcohol. What else do I want to mention? You could use Teflon. You could use anything else that's heat resistant if you're going to be doing some of the heat tool stuff on it. Here's my heat tool. Glass surfaces. People have recommended glass surfaces. Gloves if you want. I'm one of these neat crafters, like I'm really neat and clean. So I don't know if I'll get it on my fingers, but I really haven't yet. So I'm going to just hope that I don't. And then compressed air containers. Some people have used compressed air containers. Like if you clean your keys on your computer, it comes in this container and it's like compressed air. So you press on it and it shoots out air. It's really cool. Let's see what else. And some people also cover their whole table surface depending on how messy they're going to get. So on that note, I think that's it. I'm going to use Post-it notes. Again, you could use washi tape or something to hold your piece down. And then a well-ventilated room, especially if you're going to do this all day. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab some of these little sticky notes. And we're going to just hold our paper down on all 4 corners, or vellum, sorry, on all 4 corners, like that. In fact, I'm going to go a little bit further out because I want to be able to trim off my edges here. This is just to help prevent it from curling up on you when you're working. So the first thing you do is you start coloring. Really fun. I'm going to look at my other samples here and see. I think I started with the lighter colors and I just kind of scribbled some color here and there. That one is dark flirty flamingo. This one is dark daffodil delight. And I'm kind of going next to, but not on top of the other colors. If you go on top, you're going to pick up some of the color onto the tip of your markers, which is why I'm going from light to dark first, in case I accidentally do that. Because if I was doing, like right there, if I was doing that with a light color and I had a dark color here, I would have to then, run this onto my paper, my scrap paper, so I could get rid of any dark color and not stain my blends the wrong way, right? So now we're going to add some of the Calypso Coral color in here. This is dark Calypso Coral. You don't have to use this many colors. In fact, you can use just one color and you get fabulous results too. This is dark Misty Moonlight. So you know how I said that I liked to use the light colors with the basic coloring techniques that I've done on paper with a stamp image? I use those up more so, but with this technique, I think I'm leaning towards the dark blends markers more. So overall, my markers are going to get evenly used. So now I'm just coming in with a little bit of darker colors here and there. I don't want as many of the darker colors, but I do want them to kind of, I don't know, show up, right? So let's see if we can get, here, let's see if we can get that kind of result. We'll see. So with this, I actually sprayed. Instead of using any of my other tools, I spritzed with my alcohol spritzer. So let's just bring in the paper towel and the alcohol. And we're going to open up the cap on here. The cap opens the way that you'd think it would, by the way. The water painters do not. I'll demonstrate that. That's what I'll put it right there so I remember to show you. So I just slowly pour in and I try to make sure I can see the bottle filling up, because if you fill it too high, these things are so, these things are so narrow that if you fill it too high, when you put this in, it's going to overflow. So you don't want to put it too high. Just, keep that in mind, that this little sucker up tube, it does add some volume in there, right? Make sure that it's nice and tight. It's got a cap on it. There's a nozzle on it. We're going to have that ready to go. This container here, you can also fill with alcohol if you want to paint on the alcohol. I like to dip it in, but you can, see, I naturally wanted to turn this way with it. But to open these, they open the opposite way, okay? So, and then they close the opposite way. Just so you know, some of us struggled with that when this tool first came out. So I've got my paintbrush ready to go for if I want to dip it into the little tub of alcohol. All right, so let's close this up. Let's bring this back in. And we want to get this kind of effect. So again, we're going to spritz. And I'm going to hold it kind of at an angle so that I can show you the colors start to kind of move. And so you're just going to spritz directly down onto your paper. Do you see what's happening? It's already getting the colors to move. You can even see dots of spray on some of the colors. We're going to spritz it a little bit more. Even more bleeding. See? It's really cool. And then you come in and you use like one of these tools and you can blow the color in different directions like that. Either one of these tools. You can also use a straw. Just know that if you inhale as you're blowing, you can, inhale some of that alcohol fume stuff, and that's kind of intense. So also my surface is movable. You see how I'm leaning it to one side? And that way I can get kind of a smooth effect here. Now this will take a while to dry if I want it to just kind of dry like that, and I don't. I'm not done yet. So I'm going to bring in the heat tool, and the heat tool has two settings. Thank you, Kathy Perez, I think is how you say your last name. She informed me that there's a low setting and a high setting for this very reason. If you want to just dry something off, you can use the low setting only. I also have used the high setting on it, but it will create a little bit more intense heat. So when you're adding heat to this, it's going to dry. So I've got it kind of runny. I want to dry it off. And I got it kind of too runny. So I spritzed it way too much, but that's okay. We can correct it. I will show you how to correct it. Wow, Rachel, you put a lot of alcohol on there. I know. We'll do it again. So I'm just drying it to get rid of some of that. Oh my gosh, it even got underneath. New piece. We're not going to spray that much. Hang on. Bring this one in. Rachel, you sprayed too much. Okay, okay. We're going to have fun though. We're going to solve the problem. Let's try it again. This one I'm going to let air dry, and we're still going to come back to it, but I want to show you this a little quicker. So let's color again with those markers. We might just bring that one back because the coloring is going to take a while, isn't it? I was just like overwhelmed. You know what? Let's bring it back. It's dry. We can do it. We can do it, Rachel. Put this one out of the way. It's dry now. I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never gotten it that wet before. Okay, here we go. It's dry, it's ready. So now you're gonna come back in with more color because this obviously washed out some of my color that I wanted in there. So I'm just gonna come in and bring in a bit more here and there. There's gotta be something that Rachel does that's a mistake, right? Every time. It's just, I'm just showing the real way to, you know, deal with this stuff, right? It happens to all of us. So we're bringing in these colors a bit more. We need some dark in here too, because we kind of washed those away. A little up here. And I'm not coloring the whole thing. You'll see I'm just trying to fill in some spaces where it got a little bit too washed out. We're going to make it pretty again. Okay, so now let's spritz it, but only spritz it a little bit, Rachel. Okay, then we can come in and we can blast it. See, now you can see that you can manipulate it a little bit more if you just add a little and not overpower it too much. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. See how it's addicting? And you can get those little, you see how there's little trails, little, somebody called them tendrils or something. That was a cool definition for them. But you get those if you blast the air on them really strong. Oh, this is way better. Okay, so now instead of using this little air gun tool, I'm going to show you with the heat tool. Watch. You get the movement a lot faster with it. Now you can see what I wanted to show you. So fun. So fun. And if some area bothers you, you can come back in and you can add more alcohol to it and you can manipulate it some more. This area didn't get it very well. Okay, and it really depends on the look that you're going for too. So this I wanted kind of a smooth look. I wanted kind of a flow of colors without too much without too many little dots here and there. But on the next piece of vellum that I've already started for you, I'm going to show you how to get more of a dotty look. Let's pull this stuff off. And we're going to blot the underside because we got a little bit underneath on the corners. And now I'm going to hold it against the white. Ta-da! It's gorgeous. It's so pretty, you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to get more of this kind of look. Okay, so this kind of look is done in a more controlled way. So let's put these back on, the vellum and the tape pieces. And I think I got that one too alcohol-y. We'll stick this down, and now we're going to add color, but we're going to do it with the paintbrush, with the aqua painter. Sorry, water painters. We used to sell ones called aqua painters. These are water painters. So I'm putting my little blobs of color here and there. And you notice I'm turning my marker on its side. Don't color straight down with the brush tip of your blends markers. Don't even do that when you're using them, you know, for coloring or that kind of thing on your paper, on your regular cardstock. Okay, and then let's add some of the rich raspberry. So again, all dark markers here. And a little up here. Okay, now we're going to bring in our dish of the isopropyl alcohol, and we're going to have our paper towel ready, and we're going to grab our paintbrush. Okay, and again, you can use a paintbrush. It doesn't have to be the Stampin' Up! Ones. I'm just dipping it in to get a little bit of alcohol on there. You can even rub off some if you don't want to overdo it. You just dip. Oh, you can see I've already dropped some accidentally on here. So you just kind of dribble some on there and see what's happening already. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it better. So it's creating these little pools of color, and I'm doing it just with the pinks right now, and then I'll come back and I'll wash in between in case I get color. I'm just kind of rubbing it onto my paper towel in case I have color on here from that. And then this, I'll just go now to the next lighter color, which is the yellow. And I'll dribble some. This is a more controlled way of adding the alcohol to it. I think that's it for the yellow. And then let's do the Calypso Coral color. And let's do the rich raspberry color. I keep forgetting to clean in between. I should be cleaning before I dip. I'm still new to this. There we go. Now let's do the Misty Moonlight. All right, fun and different. Oh, so different. It just moves on its own. We're gonna cap this really quick. Where did I put? Here it is. We're gonna cap this, and we're gonna use this little tool just to kind of move any of the ink that is still kind of sitting there. I might have let it dry too fast. Oh, there's some that we can move. And then we're going to come in with the heat tool again, because if I use it completely dry, I can add more color. So I'm just drying it off. You can actually see the paper change too. The ink on there changed from wet to dry. And again, it's so quick because it's the 99% isopropyl. Okay, we're getting close to that, right? That look is happening. So then you can just take and you can add more color to where it was too light. We'll add a little pink here. We'll add a little bit more Calypso Coral to this area. When I take off the marker caps, I like to pull them off like this, because if you pull like this, you can you might break the tip of your marker, or at least bend it a little bit. And we don't want to do that. I think I'm going to put some raspberry in there. So let's open up our container again. I close it in between because, again, it evaporates, so you want to make sure that you're not... Dry it off on your paper towel first, Rachel. Now dip it. You want to make sure that you're not... what was I going to say? I don't know. Oh, you don't want it to evaporate. So that's why I cap it. Oh my God, that is so cool. I love it. Plus, when you've got the heat tool near and you're drying it, you know, manipulating the ink colors. See, now I can make it move with the heat tool if I want. Well, if I caught it sooner. I'll demonstrate that one on the next piece. So here we have, this is so cool, you guys, more of a splotchy look. And you can build those splotchies up. I'm going to set this one aside, but because you know what you see here? You see these dark outlines here? Those dark outlines are actually kind of sticky. Can you see the shininess on them? So we're going to save that for another little demo that I'm going to do quickly. But from here, okay, so here was one, here was another, but from here, I then did this. So I took this, and I'm only going to do it on a portion. Well, maybe I can do it on, yeah, I'm going to do it anyways. Okay, so I took this and I did another little spritz of it. You could also take and use your paintbrush, and you can tap it to, if it's wet enough. You can tap it and get little speckles. But to get this more freckly look like that, and here, we'll hold it against the white again. To get that more freckly look, where you can see lots of little petals like that, I just used the spritzer again. I just went in and I went like that. Now watch what happens. Just spritzed it once, by the way, because you don't want it to pool up a lot. So let's bring back this and watch it for a few seconds. Do you see what's already happening on the purple color? You can see it there. You can see it kind of through here also. So there, and on the blue, and a little bit on the pink there, there's little tiny puddles that were spritzed out and that are already starting to form their own little, I don't know, lightened pockets, little pools of alcohol. Okay, so we're going to set this aside, like I said, because I want to show that with the gilded leafing. I know, right? So on to that, let's go ahead and assemble. Before we forget, let's assemble what we've got. Put that right there. Let's assemble what we've got. So we've already done, and where did my piece go? Here, is this it? No, these are ones that I'd finished already. These are the tall ones, right? Here's the one that I just completed. So we're going to add that to the front, and we're going to make a card like this. So really quickly, we're going to bring in, again, the Shaded Summer stamp set. And I've got 2 images from that stamp set. Yep, I did mount the stickers. Good for you, Rachel. And then we're going to use the Love You Friend image. We're using them all with the Blackberry Bliss ink. So, oh, and I forgot to show you that. I'm going to show you that too. What else did I forget? I'm going to make sure I show you that. Okay, so Blackberry Bliss ink. And we're going to grab our pieces for our card. And we're going to put this together. So this piece needs to get mounted onto our white background. You notice again that it's a little bit long. Oops, I'm going to zoom out a bit. It's a little bit longer, and that's because we use that tape to hold it down. So to do the vellum onto anything, I do like to use the multi-purpose liquid glue and sponge it on. So I just use a clean sponge, and I like to use the silicone craft mat. So this side, let's see, this is the side this is the back side, so I'm gonna put glue along there. So I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit, and you can't see that either, can you? Hang on. I'll squeeze a little bit of that multi-purpose liquid glue onto my craft mat. Grab a sponge, and this is just a little piece, like a 1/6 of a rounded sponge, and I'm just going to pounce it in there to get some glue on the back side. And then I'm just going to go around the corners, and I haven't trimmed this yet because I don't want to trim it inaccurately. So I'm just going to, you know, go around the edges. You don't have to go through the whole thing. Just like with you know, dry tape or whatever, you don't have to put it all across the whole background, but we just want to have enough to hold it onto our white cardstock. So we'll move that off to the side. We'll bring this in and we'll line that up right with the edge like that. And lift it up if you have to move it to line it up, but I think we're good. And then we'll just trim this off with our scissors. A long bladed scissors helps when you're gonna trim a straight line, by the way. Okay, so then we're gonna use, there's our finished piece. It's nice and bright because it is against the white. By the way, the sponge you'll want to take and rinse out as soon as you're done using it so that water-based glue does wash out pretty easily. If you don't do it right away, it's going to dry on there and be really hard to get out. Believe it. Or don't. All right, so this is going to get mounted with some seal adhesive, or you could use the multi-purpose liquid glue, onto our glimmer paper. I'm sorry, not glimmer paper. This is our shimmer vellum. This is our shimmer vellum. I think I want that piece to be on top, like that. And then this is going to be put on top of the card like that. It's kind of a focal designer paper piece. But I want to have some stamped images off to the side here, so I'm going to bring in this image here, and it's very subtle. I'm going to show you on the finished card what it looks like. In the photos, it's maybe a little bit easier to see, but can you see it's just a little hint of floral there? It's such a dark cardstock that it doesn't show up as well as it would if you were to do tone on tone with lighter cardstock colors. We're inking this up and we're going to stamp this off to the side. Let's see, this piece is going to go right about there. Hover, stamp it down. You can see it better when it's wet, but it will dry and it will darken a little bit and kind of blend more into the cardstock color. Can you see that? Okay, then we're going to do this one, just a little bit of it. And we're going to make that come underneath. And because I only inked up half, I know that I'm okay and I won't have ink on this side. So I can scoot it off to the side a bit if I need to. And that's going to stamp down about there. And that's so that that flower will show up underneath my sentiment piece that I have coming across there. So this is now going to get added with some seal adhesive. Actually, you know what? Let's do the inside here too. Let's do that first. Because if you're going to stamp on the inside of your card base, you want to do it before you add all your layers. So if this is the front and this is the inside, then we're going to stamp a set of flowers coming out here. Again, very subtle, but just enough to kind of give it some decoration. And then we're going to stamp a set of flowers right about here. Okay? I maybe could have gone up higher with that. Oh well. All right. Oh, and we need our sentiment piece to be stamped. So let's do that now. Love you, friend. We'll stamp that right here. And I'm doing it centered up and down on that piece, but, sorry, I'm doing it centered up and down on that piece, but I'm leaving room off to the right for an embellishment. Good enough. Close that up, put that off to the side. This is going to get layered onto this piece, so we may as well do that right now. And that gets layered evenly with about 1/16 of an inch all the way around. This is going to be up on dimensionals. Oh, I forgot my dimensionals. I think I forgot to add them in the supply list, but they're pretty much on every list of supplies for my projects that I do. So we'll add about 3 of those. Pull the backings off. Okay, that's ready. So the inside of the card has a little space to put your writing, whatever you want to say to your friend, right below. See how I should have put it up a little higher? That's okay. We're going to cover up a little bit of the flower. So if you're going to stamp on this, stamp on it before you add it to your card, just in case you make a mistake. You can always change your mind. Get a new piece. Oops. There is a right side and a wrong side to the shimmer vellum, so pay attention to that. The shimmer vellum is very shimmery on one side and a lot duller on the other side. The shimmer vellum also comes in all of the 2021 through 23 in colors. Yeah, see, I barely have any flowers peeking up there. Oh well. So you're going to get 5 colors in the pack just to get the fresh freesia out of there, but just so you know. Okay, so when I put this on, I'm actually going to look at the paper that I decorated, and I want that to be lined up with the edges and perpendicular with the edges of my card. This is going to go across here like that, and then we'll bring in the beautiful in color jewels, which has the fresh freesia color in it. And we're just going to put a couple. Oh, do I not have the take your pick tool out either? Good thing all my tools are right here. All right, we're going to add the yellow one because we definitely used some yellow. This isn't actually yellow, by the way. This is pale papaya, but it looks yellow on the card. I like that these jewels have kind of a multicolor tone to them. Like, is it iridescent? Is that what you would call it? So that you can see, you can kind of pair them up with different purples and yellows and pinks and stuff. Let's bring one right about there, and let's put one right about, ooh, did it come off? Right about there. There we go. All right, so there is the finished card. A little less, or a little more on the muddier side as far as blending the colors. Like I think I got some browns created. I wasn't as controlled as I was on this one. Oh, you know what? That's because this one was the other sheet of this one. Okay, there you go. So I actually used this one on here. But now we're going to take the one that we had just done. So we're going to move back to a little bit more tips and techniques stuff. And I'm going to put those there because I want to bring those back in. Okay, so let's take the paper that I just did. Here it is. And can you see that there are some sticky areas? There's some shiny, sticky areas on there. And that's what we're going to do next. So the gilded leafing sticks to sticky stuff, right? So you can just take, a sheet of this and put it down onto your sticky areas of your design here. And I'm just going to use my finger because I got better results when I used my finger to rub this in on this than I did if I used my sponge. I think the sponge was a little too, I don't know, maybe it was too rough or something. I don't know, but I got little areas here. Am I on the back side of this? Nope, I'm on the right side. Okay. Maybe I have to catch it right away. It was working before. Maybe I had to catch it right away because I did it right after and I thought it was still sticky. Let's grab that other one too. Let's try it with this. Oops, not that one. Where's the other one? Where's the other one I did? I think it was this one. I think this is the one. Okay, I might not be able to demo it. Rachel, let's do this. Let us get this activated again. We can do it. We can do it. I am going to show this. I promise you, because this is the super... Oh, you can kind of see it in there. Can you kind of see the gold in there? I want to get more in there, though. All right. So we're going to bring this back, and we're going to add a little bit more ink here and there. Let's do this middle puddle. And let's do this petal and this one and deepen them up a little bit. Okay, and the yellow. Let's bring in the yellow. Oh gosh, we could do the pink too, but we won't. We'll just do the yellow. Okay, so now we're going to come back. We're going to bring, where's that tool? This is the tool I hadn't used yet. So now I can use this. This is just like a little dropper. It drops, you know, liquid of any sort into your, like it's a medicine dropper, I think they call them officially. So you just suck up a little bit of the liquid. So I have some of the rubbing alcohol in there. Don't know if you can see that. And I'm just going to drop little drops. Big drops, I should say. Into those areas. Ta-da! Oops, I need one more. There. And then squeeze it out. Cap that. So you can see the ink is starting to move again. We're going to heat it with the heat tool to dry it up a bit, but we want to get the gilded leafing in there. So we're going to try to have little areas that are thick with ink, if that makes sense. So I've got low heat here. Oh, this desk is a mess, you guys. Sorry, have it off to the side. Okay, so it's dry. Dry to the touch, but with areas where the ink is thicker on the edges, and that's what I wanted. Let's try it now. Let's bring back the gilded leafing that's floating away on my desk here. Because I just let it float away. All right, there's some on my finger. Oh, you can see it. Awesome. It's working. It's working. This is so cool. Okay, so let me hold this up at an angle for you. Now you can see that it's connecting ever so slightly. Can you see that? Oh, it's so cool. Let me show you another finished one that I did. Cap this first, because that'll just blow all over the place if I sneeze. So let me show you another one that I did with the gilded leafing. Actually, there's a couple in here, I think. These two. That is really amazing, isn't it? How fun is that? So it's just little hints of gold here and there. And all it takes is a little bit of rubbing in the thick areas. You know, maybe, Kathy, I just saw your question, does the humidity cause problems with the glue's tackiness? I don't think so, because, I mean, have you experienced it? I haven't. And I'm in Minnesota where we have 10,000 lakes, so we get the humid heat, and I still have, it still dries tacky for me. It doesn't have problems drying, if that's what you're asking. You're talking about the multi-purpose liquid glue, I'm sure. So, yeah, isn't that fun? So let's say you don't have the gilded leafing, or you want to try something that's a little bit more guaranteed to show up, because again, this was, you know, a little bit of work, right, to make sure that it was in there. But you can take the Wink of Stella. So this is another product that Stampin' Up! Has, and you can just paint it on. This one I created with the colors, and I want to make sure I got this right here. Here it is. With the colors Dark So Saffron, Dark Mossy Meadow, and the Dark Granny Apple Green. So that's another one. Let me show it to you against the white, so it's a little more. And what I did with this one is I added Wink of Stella to do some gold accenting, but I painted it on. So you just take your Wink of Stella brush, and you want one that has been squeezed a little bit. So I have two of them. This one is the one where it flows out real easily. The other one, it's a little bit more work and it's more of a subtle shimmer. So, but yeah, as I start kind of following the lines of this paper, it's going to flow out and it's going to, oops, tilt the right way there, Rachel. Can you see where I just drew? There. It was there. And then I moved my, there it is. So you just go in and you just draw and you follow kind of like the veiny areas. And you can thicken it in some spots and you can get thinner because it's such a fine tip. So you start real lightly on there and then you get thick if you want to, and then you go light again. You can even come in areas where you feel like there needs to be something, you know, because there was nothing really. So it's fun. It's a fun way to add the gold really quick and easy. It will dry on there after a time, and I can now add that to a card. And by the way, I do have a finished card with this one, but it's going to be shared on my blog tomorrow. So you'll want to come back and visit that because I'm doing a blog hop with a bunch of people, a bunch of creative people, mostly people that are in my Stampers with Art group. And we're going to highlight the alcohol ink technique, which I'm sure they're going to have even more ideas for you too. Now, I did mention at the beginning of the video that you can use window sheets. Oops, I'm going to bring this white paper back in. That you can use window sheets and foil. But do you see on my silver foil how I have kind of a, there, now you can see it. It's kind of like it just dried too quickly maybe. I don't know if it was the content, the alcohol content. Maybe I needed to use 91% instead because it looks like it's kind of heated or like somebody, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't look pretty all the way across. So I didn't like that result. This one is the window sheet and it has similar results if you look at it at the side, but it's a little bit more forgiving. And I did use like one that came in a stamp set case. You know, when you get the clear photopolymer, you get window sheets in there. I didn't use one of my super clean ones, but yeah, anyways. But it's kind of cool. It's a non-porous surface, so it works. What else do I want to share with you that's up here on my table before I close the video? Oh, so blends storage. How do I store my markers? So let me go to my room. I'm going to bring you to my room. My markers are stored in this container. And this is a container by Stampin Storage that I have painted. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I thought I could get it out. I just have to push these a little bit to the side here. Oh, I might not be able to get it out, you guys. It was loose. All right, everybody say heave-ho. It's so tight in here between the other ones that... Okay, I'm not going to be able to bring it out. You'll just have to shop their website. Go back against the wall. There we go. It's really cool. And it holds a whole bunch of markers at once. Basically, a lot of my main storage pieces are done by Stampin' Storage. I have a link in the video description if you want to check them out. But yeah, lots of different storage pieces by them. But also, if you're looking for something smaller, not as big, there are some pieces that I want to point out to you. So Stampin' Up! Does have some storage pieces. And I put the link, oops, now I gotta go to my desk. I put the link into my video also for their color storage pieces that they sell. These can be purchased in a set of 5, so they stack like this. And your markers fit in like this. So here's the ones that hold the blends. Now, I have a girlfriend who's a team member who also has been creating storage pieces with one of those 3D printer kinds of things. And I'm really impressed with this one because you can have your ink pad and your blends right next to each other. Her company is called The Country Hive. So if you're interested in smaller storage pieces than Stampin' Storage, and you want something a little different than Stampin' Up. You know, it depends. Everybody's got their way of organizing their supplies. But this is great for having your blends right next to your ink pads. And they also, Ashley and James also have one that you can stack. In fact, all their pieces like this kind of stack together, right? And so you can do your blends that way. What I thought was kind of cool is that they have this open storage piece like this. And what I found was that the ink pad, even though, you know, it stops there, so you can store your ink pad in there, but then you can also fit your blends markers and your Stampin' Right marker into that space. So if you're looking for those kind of storage solutions, there you go. That's the Country Hive. Brett and Mary Haugen from Stampin' Storage, though, in the back of my room with all of that stuff. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, right? So I just wanted to let you know about the pieces that I tend to gravitate towards and the companies that I support and love. I think that's it. My gosh, you know what? I did go over today, but I knew I would. And so let's just bring back this. And now I'm going to end on one more note because I want to talk about Celebration and the mini catalog, the items that are coming up. This is the other card I wanted to share with you. It's a card that was using, and trying to be really careful with where I put things here because I've got stuff that's wet on my table. So I used some dies that are going to be available soon. These dies, and zoom out just a tad here. These dies are called Summer Shadows dies. They are not available right now because they're going to be a freebie with a $100 purchase starting August 3rd. They're one of several freebies because Stampin' Up! Is going to have another celebration going on from August 3rd through September 30th. So just a heads up. A $50 order gets you level 1 picks, a $100 order gets you level 2 picks. And these dies coordinate with this stamp set. You can see these images here and this one. They can all be die cut with the framelit pieces in here. And then you've got these other images that are similar to the stamp designs. So if you're in love with the stamp set and you want to get the dies, there you go. So that is pretty much the end of my presentation for you guys today. Here's the mini catalog and the celebration brochure, the images of what they look like. If you do not have a demonstrator or you're not a demonstrator yourself, then you can go to my website at stampyourartout.com, click on catalogs, and it will lead you to a page where you can request a copy of the catalogs. What else? Oh, and if you're a demonstrator, some demonstrators have been reaching out to me. You want to just be patient. Stampin' Up! Sent our complimentary copies of the publications with bulk mail. And if you haven't received them by, I believe, July 29th, then you need to call Stampin' Up! And they will send out, in a quicker mail system, your complimentary catalogs. So let's move back to this view. Oops, not that view. Hang on. There we are. It's like I went to sleep for a while. So thank you everybody for joining. My next live will be Wednesday, July 21st at 11 a.m. Central Time. I hope that you stuck with me. This was a longer one. I knew it was going to be because I wanted to show you lots of fun stuff with these inks. Again, I'm a beginner and look what you can create. It's amazing. You just keep playing around with it, keep reactivating the ink if you need to by spritzing it with more alcohol or dabbing it with more alcohol. You can manipulate and move that ink however you want and do some really fun designs. Those are the designs that I've done so far. I've shown you all of them, really. And all of them, I would say, are a work of art. They're crazy how easy it is to make something beautiful with this technique. So if you're looking for information about this video, like photos, a supply list, you can print off that supply list that I shared at the beginning with the measurements. If you're looking for links to the products, this video is going to be in my blog post in about 5 more minutes. And the link for that blog post is in the description of the video, so make sure that you click on that. We forgot to do prizes. I almost went away. I almost went away. I bet Trisha's going, oh my gosh, Rachel, don't forget prizes. We got to show prizes. Rachel, what is up with you? I have purchased lots of blends, and I have some dark color selections here. So the people that we choose to be winners today, Trisha's going to call out their names any minute. You get to pick 3 of the 10 colors. So just let me know which colors you want. If you have all the blends and you don't need any extra blends, then your prize choice is a free tutorial bundle of your choice, and you can find those at my website. Back to last week's winner really quick. We did draw a winner from last week, and last week's winner can choose from any of these products. There's past stamp sets from Paper Pumpkin kits, from other kinds of kits. There's the Hey Chick stamp set, and then there's these ribbons. So you still have lots of choices even though there's just one winner left. I'm going to pull up that winner's name. Miss Sally Ellsworth, congratulations to you. And we'll go back to the desktop really quickly. So yay for Sally. And who do we have as a winner today, Trisha? I'm going to peek through the comments here to see if you've drawn somebody. Thank you for spending a little extra time with me too, Trisha. I tell her, you know, it's typically going to be a half hour, and then it's not. This one was way over a half hour. So yeah, do your drum roll. That'll help her get her. There it is. Today's live prize winners are Pammy Clayton and Linda Crawford. Hey, congratulations. Yay. So pick out your colors or pick out your tutorial. All right, now I'm going to let y'all go. The blog post is going live in like 2 minutes. Thanks everyone for joining me. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.